You know that feeling of being perpetually on edge? That constant scanning of your environment for danger? Well, it turns out it's not just a symptom of modern stress. It's actually the successful execution of a very old, very high-alert survival program, one that refuses to accept that the threat is gone. In this explainer, we're going to look at why this program gets stuck, the incredibly high cost of this constant drain on your resources, and most importantly, how you can finally power the whole system down.
Right at the heart of this whole thing is a really profound and, let's be honest, frustrating paradox. It's that feeling where your body and your mind are just screaming, danger, even when a logical part of you knows you're perfectly safe. This one sentence really says it all. The threat is over, it's in the past, but your nervous system is still fighting a ghost.
So this is the big question, right? The one that haunts so many of us. It's that constant, low-level buzz of anxiety. The fact that you can never fully relax. That feeling that you've got to watch everything and everyone just in case. It's absolutely exhausting, and it's so easy to start thinking this is some kind of personal flaw. But what if it isn't? What if it's not a flaw at all, but a feature?
And here's the crucial reframe. What you're experiencing is not a character flaw. It's not a sign of weakness. It's your brain's ancient survival hardware running a program that once upon a time was absolutely essential for keeping you alive. The only problem is that program is now outdated, and it's running on a loop, draining your battery in a world that just doesn't have the original threat anymore.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by looking at that outdated program itself. Then we'll get into the high cost of being on alert all the time. After that, we'll map out something called the threat confirmation loop. We'll explore why it feels so hard to get unstuck, and then we'll get to the good stuff, practical tools to power down, and finally, redefine what safety really feels like.
So let's start with a really counterintuitive idea. This high alert state isn't a malfunction, it's a success. I mean, think about it. This system was designed to spot threats, a predator hiding, an enemy tribe approaching, and it worked brilliantly. It learned from dangers in the past, and it programmed your internal system to predict future ones, making sure you were never, ever caught off guard. In a truly dangerous world, this is a life-saving feature.
But what's the cost of running that program 24/7 when you're actually safe? The price is enormous. It affects your mind, your emotions, your body, everything. So let's take a look at what that actually feels like day to day.
I mean, does any of this sound familiar? This isn't just being stressed. It's a very specific pattern. That chronic anxiety is the background noise of your life. The exhaustion comes from a brain that literally never gets a break. You find yourself obsessively analyzing every little change in your boss's tone of voice or a weird look from your partner, always bracing for the worst. And of course, that leads to big emotional swings and makes it impossible to sleep, because a brain on high alert absolutely refuses to shut down for the night.
Now, what's happening under the hood, neurologically, that causes that exhaustion? It's something called a cognitive resource hijack. See, your prefrontal cortex, or PFC, is the sophisticated, logical thinking part of your brain. It's the CEO. But in a state of hypervigilance, that powerful CEO gets completely co-opted for one job and one job only: scanning the world for threats. This is an incredibly energy-hungry task, and it's the reason you can feel so completely drained at the end of the day, even if you feel like you've done nothing at all. Your brain has been running a marathon.
So how does this state keep itself going? It's not random. It operates on a very predictable, self-reinforcing system that we call the threat confirmation loop. And really understanding this loop is the first step to breaking it, because it gives you a map of what's happening inside your own mind.
The loop has 4 clear stages. It starts with what's called a sensitized baseline. From there, you get the PFC hijack and the constant scanning. Then comes this critical moment of misinterpreting something that's totally ambiguous. And finally, there's a stage of confirmation that, paradoxically, reinforces the entire anxious cycle. So let's break these down. Everything kicks off right here at stage 1. Because of past experiences, maybe trauma, maybe instability, you name it, your brain's alarm system, the limbic system, has basically lowered its threat threshold. It's like taking a smoke detector and cranking the sensitivity dial all the way to the max. It is now primed to go off at the slightest hint of trouble, which keeps your entire nervous system in this low-grade, constant state of fight or flight.
So from that sensitized baseline, the loop goes right into stage 2, PFC hijacked and scanning. That's what we just talked about. Your thinking brain gets put to work looking for danger. And this leads directly to stage 3, ambiguity misinterpretation. Because your brain is actively looking for threats, it starts to interpret neutral or vague things through that lens. A loud noise isn't just a noise. It's an intruder. A text message without a smiley face isn't just a message, it's a sign that someone's mad at you. Your hypersensitive amygdala doesn't wait around for more info, it just slams the panic button.
And this brings us to the final and most crucial stage of the loop. This is what explains why your brain keeps doing something so draining. It's confirmation and reinforcement. See, when you scan for danger and find nothing, or when you worry about something that never happens, your brain doesn't learn that the worry was a waste of time. No, it concludes that your vigilance is what prevented the disaster. And that gives you this tiny little hit of relief, a feeling of control, which powerfully reinforces the need to keep scanning. The worry itself starts to feel productive.
When you see it laid out like that, it starts to make sense why you feel so stuck, doesn't it? This isn't a lack of willpower. There are really powerful neurological forces at play that are keeping this system locked in the on position, making it almost impossible to just calm down.
And this slide just perfectly illustrates the internal tug-of-war. You've got this battle going on between two parts of your brain that operate at totally different speeds. The limbic system, your threat brain, is fast, it's primal, it's automatic. It screams danger long before your slower, more logical prefrontal cortex can even start to process the data and say, hey, wait a minute, let's think about this. The alarm is instant. The tool to shut it off is slow.
And here's why that mismatch is such a huge problem. Remember that cognitive resource hijack? All of that constant scanning uses up the PFC's energy. And that leads to a state called ego depletion. Your thinking brain is literally too tired to fight back. So when the limbic system sends out another one of its powerful fear signals, the PFC just doesn't have the cognitive strength to argue with it. It's like trying to reason with a screaming toddler after you've just run a marathon. You're just going to give in.
So, the crucial takeaway here is that this isn't just in your head, it's in your body. The chronic activation of your fight or flight system biologically blocks the off switch. And that off switch is a network of nerves in your body called the ventral vagal complex, or VVC. Think of it as your body's natural braking system. It's what's responsible for making you feel safe, connected, and relaxed, that rest and digest state. When you are hypervigilant, you are physiologically locked out of this system.
Okay, so if you can't think your way out of this state, what on earth can you do? This brings us to the most important part of this whole explainer, the practical tools. The solution isn't about fighting your brain, it's about working with your body to manually flip that safety switch we just talked about.
This right here is the fundamental shift in approach. You've probably spent years trying to rationalize your fears away, and it hasn't worked. Why? Because you're trying to use a tired, depleted PFC to override a primal alarm. The strategy that actually works is to bypass the argument altogether and send direct, undeniable signals of safety from the physical world straight to your nervous system. You have to show your body it's safe, not just tell it.
Okay, here is a super simple but incredibly powerful technique to do just that. The next time you feel that wave of high alert hit you, first, ground yourself. Firmly plant your feet on the floor and just feel the solidness of the ground beneath you. That's a primal signal of stability. Second, orient yourself. Slowly look around the room, but you're not scanning for danger. You're scanning for safety. Name 3 neutral, stable things you see: a lamp, a book, a window. This tells your brain you have time to observe, which means you can't be under immediate attack. And finally, identify the current time. This anchors you in the present moment, not in a memory of past danger.
All right, now here's a tool to help out that exhausted PFC of yours. It's called the worry box. The rule is simple. If a worry pops into your head, your job is to immediately write it down. Then, you make a promise to your brain that you will give that worry your full undivided attention during a scheduled 5-minute window later in the day. This is like making a contract with your brain. It frees up your PFC from having to loop on that worry, and it saves that precious cognitive energy for right now.
When you start using these tools consistently, something really profound starts to happen. It's more than just managing anxiety. It's about fundamentally changing your relationship with safety. It's about bringing your internal reality into alignment with your external reality. And that brings us to a really powerful final metaphor to help you reframe this entire experience.
Let's really let that sink in for a moment. That hyper-vigilant part of you, it isn't your enemy. It's a loyal, dedicated soldier that has been working tirelessly to protect you based on old intelligence. It did its job perfectly. The only problem is the war is over, but nobody told the soldier. And now its loyalty, its dedication, is what's causing the exhaustion and preventing you from actually enjoying the peace.
And so we end with this question, which is really the central challenge, isn't it?
How do you honor that loyal soldier while also helping it to stand down? You don't do it by yelling at it or telling it that it's wrong. You do it gently, consistently, through action. By grounding yourself, by orienting to your surroundings, you are providing that soldier with new, updated intelligence from the field. You are showing it, moment by moment, to the felt sense of your own body that the battle is over. You are safe. You can finally rest.